going on right at the start. Here's Jose Miguel then, and Thomas Herzog currently running P13. So Demurbas is still with Dario Appa. There is just 6/10 between the two of them. And whoa, Sinan Demurbas sets the fastest lap, a 1:03.334 as we saw cars going around there, one of which was Luca Keller. So here is David Seed, P14, our current championship leader. And after various problems, including one of his own making, which was a mistake and very uncharacteristic, he has got a lot of work to do now in terms of putting himself into the really important points-paying positions. So David Seed has Fabian Meyer ahead, and then Ciro Zambra, and is being pursued by Mikael Fry and I was going to say Valverde, but Valverde has just spun the car around. Let's go on board with David Seed now then. Quietly, he will be really cross with himself for a error earlier on, which has seen him in this position. Tiziano Caponio, as everyone else was losing their head, Tiziano capped his and finds himself in that really advantageous P7 position, as now Dario Appa does respond then and banks the fastest lap as Tiziano Caponio in this P7 place at the moment, with Mikael Farland well within Tiziano's sights for an overtake here. But of course Tyler Klausch is right behind as well, and there the pressure on Mikael Farland meant the back end of Farland's car went around, and that played into the hands of Hedinger and Klausch and of course Caponio. Ciro Zambra P11, Thomas Herzog P13, Fabian Meyer running in P12. So good shot this is as they make their way up to Hawthorns Hill, and David Seed P15. It's just not happening for him today, and is being pursued by Machas Della Rosa here. So Mikael Fry ahead of David Seed, as indeed is Thomas Herzog and Fabian Meyer. And here's Julian Machas Della Rosa chasing that all-yellow car ahead then. Julian racing in our lounge in Munich. Of course, all our lounges joined together as one for this fantastic competition in the Challenger League. And here's Dario Appa, who's not been able to break away sufficiently from Sinan Demurbas. So the two of them, well, they're gapped by just 5/10. That's all it is. We'll make that 4.5 now as Sinan Demurbas really begins to pile the pressure on Dario Appa. Dario, who did a fantastic job in qualifying, is under threat here for this P1 position. Make no mistake about that. But Dario Appa is more than well aware that in his rearview mirrors that are full of the Sinan Demurbas car, because these two are really breaking away. This is an excellent onboard shot. We're on board the P1 car, and we can see the hot pursuing Sinan Demurbas car as through Clark Curve onto the start finish straight we go. Here is Sinan Demurbas, no stranger to success, of course, in Racing Unleashed, and would love to bank a P1 here in Brands Hatch. On lap 8 of 27, Dario Appa then through Druids down towards Graham Hill. Seems to have it all completely under control. The gap, to be fair, is not moving. It remains at about 5/10 between the two of them. So making the climb up now towards Hawthorn Hill. Dario Appa and Sinan Demurbas with the setup of the car so close. These Formula Hybrid X-Evos 2022 cars are so good, as Marcus Valverde now sets the fastest lap and is the first driver to put it into the 1:02s. But he's running down there in P18. He's got a lot of overtaking to do. And Dario Appa, I think, is now beginning to really feel the pressure of Sinan Demurbas, as Aldrin Kiefer gets by Stefan Julmi to pick up the P4 place. Podiums at the moment go the way of Appa, Demurbas and Schmidt, but we're a long way away from talking about podiums. Now, as they cross the timing line, the gap has reduced significantly between Dario Appa and Sinan Demurbas. Here's David Seed, languishing, if I may say that, down there in P14 with Mikael Fry ahead. So David Seed, for whatever reason, has just not come together in the early stages of this race. However, don't let that lull you into a sense of David Seed's not going to do very well here, because we know just how hard he can push. On board with Mikael Fry then, looking back to that David Seed car. So it's P13 and P14 that we look at now through Graham Hill Bend here at Brands Hatch. Use the runoff area. Blaster throttle before braking and running up towards the Hawthorne Hill. Here is Sinan Demirbaş then getting ever closer, just 0.3 the gap between P1 and P2 now. Where will the overtake potential come from Sinan Demirbaş? If he can get the draft off of the car in front here, it could be going into Paddock Hill Bend. They go side by side, almost touch wheels. It's a long way around the outside though at Paddock Hill. And sure enough, Dario Arpa is able to close the door, but now around the outside again, really difficult at Druids. But this is how keen and how contested Sinan Demirbaş is in taking this P1 place away from Dario Arpa, the man that shone in qualifying. So Sinan Demirbaş then climbs towards Hawthorne Hill now, with Dario Arpa able to breathe just a small sigh of relief as they go underneath the bridge, and being able to resist the overtake from Sinan Demirbaş, as Marcus Valverde now, another driver into the 1:02s, sets the fastest lap. In fact, he improves on his last fastest lap. Tiziano Caponio has got by Stefan Julmi and has made it into P5, and there is Tiziano Caponio as we split the screen so that we can keep an eye on both of these battles going on. Sinan Demirbaş not as close to Dario Arpa on this lap. And we're on lap 11 of 27 here at Brands Hatch, and then really closing through Druids. Now an excellent exit from Graham Hill could give Sinan the opportunity, but actually he runs just a little bit too wide, and the additional momentum that Sinan had brought into Graham Hill Bend was lost. So now he's got to do it all over again. Under the bridge then, heading towards Hawthorne Bend, the right-hander, along the Milner Straight into Westfield. And then, of course, it is the short straight, which is Dingle Dell. There, exactly where we are. Through the Sheen Curve towards Stirling's Bend, which is the next one. And Sinan Demirbaş then, with Yannick Schmidt running in P3. These drivers are a good couple of seconds ahead of the P3 driver. So rather than Dario Arpa having just broken away himself, basically P1 and P2 have broken away from the rest of the pack. But now I think Dario Arpa seems to have got everything completely under control. This is Ciro Zambra running in P7 all on his own. So heading behind and Julmi ahead, but Ciro Zambra, as you can see, gapped between those two cars that are running in P6 and P8. And David Seed, whilst we've been watching this, has put the car into P11. So Sinan Demirbaş that we are on board with now, because Dario Arpa obviously made a mistake somewhere, because Sinan Demirbaş is now leading, and not only did he, Dario Arpa, lose out on P1, but lost out on P2 as well, because Yannick Schmidt went by. So obviously a problem for Dario Arpa, and now our new race leader is Sinan Demirbaş. So here is Sinan then around the Clark curve and onto the start-finish straight, and completes his first lap as leader of this race. And David Seed then pursuing Thomas Herzog ahead. Thomas Herzog here in Kemptelen, our lounge, and David Seed, of course, racing in Madrid, as I think that was Mikael Fry that just ran off the track there in the background. So David Seed is pursuing Thomas Herzog as we go on board with the Thomas Herzog car here. Seed gets close enough to dive it to the inside, going into Paddock Hill. That'll be a slam dunk, and he will go through. Good move by David Seed then, set that up perfectly along the start-finish straight, dive to the inside for Paddock Hill Bend. And once he'd done that, there was nothing that Thomas Herzog was going to be able to do to try and prevent David Seed coming through. Here's Yannick Pletcher then, who's now chasing Thomas Herzog. So let's go on board with Yannick Pletcher, of course, so muccessful in our last round at Mugello. At the moment he's out of the points, but a points-paying finish is not out of the question for Yannick Pletcher. Fabian Meyer finds the gravel trap, bounces through it. Thankfully, I was going to say thankfully every other car avoided, but in the end they didn't. That's played into the hands of Yannick Pletcher, because I think it was the car of Thomas Herzog that was collected. So David Seed now is up to P9 with Yannick Pletcher running in P10. But Pletcher is a long way back on David Seed now. In fact, there you can just see the Yannick Pletcher car coming into shot, coming up Paddock Hill. But this is David Seed then, who's running P9 now. And he's got to use all the pace he can to get on terms with Hedinger, who is running in P8, for David Seed to be able to at least wrestle some meaningful points out of this race. Just past the halfway point in the race, as Mikael Farland found the grass, but manages to find himself ahead of Luca Keller as they continue to race on. De Murbas and Yannick Schmidt then at P1 and P2. Here's Mikael Farland running in P16 with Fabian Meyer up ahead, and then Klausch, and then Herzog. So P16 for Mikael Farland, ahead of Nico Farland, who's running P18 or P19. Here's Luca Keller then. And Luca Keller knows that he's quicker than Mikael Farland, but he's got to find a way by. And that isn't easy necessarily here at Brands Hatch. Now let's see if he'll do what David Seed did, and is he close enough to be able to get to the inside of Mikael Farland going into Paddock Hill? I don't think he is. So he runs wide, that costs him a few 100ths of speed, to be honest, and allows Luca Keller to get a bit closer. Allows Matias De La Rosa also to get closer too. So here is Julian Matias De La Rosa that we're on board with, using that runoff area out of the Graham Hill bend then. Left-hander now, climb uphill, Hawthorne Hill. And David Seed, P9, is reeling Hedinger in. So David Seed then is focusing and targeting the P8 position, and is getting ever closer. So it's a question of when, not if, the overtake is going to come, I think, from David Seed to get into that P8 position. Don't think he's close enough here on the start-finish straight to throw one into Paddock Hill Bend, but he may be close enough to do it at Druids. No, not the king of the late breakers going through Druids, so it may take another half a lap or so for him to get on terms with the all-red Hedinger car, this Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 car that is the simulator used in Racing Unleashed. This is Mikael Fry then. Yannick Pletcher in the purple colours ahead. Just rounding and heading up now towards the Hawthorne is Mikael Fry, and David Seed then, as I predicted, has got closer, but he's still some 4/10ths behind. Is he going to line up a move going into turn number one this time around, because it's now through Stirling's Bend and Clearways and into Clark Curve, which is where we find the drivers now, but actually, the Hedinger has got it all under control and is able to complete and keep a significant gap between himself and David Seed. However, Matias De La Rosa, who's running in P18, is fancying fighting away by the car of Mikael Farland ahead. So here is Julian Matias De La Rosa racing in our lounge in Munich with as we cross the timing line, 10 laps remaining in this race. We're on lap 17 of 27. De Murbas leading by 2.7 seconds over Yannick Schmidt. Let's take a look at a replay of the start then. And this is where our pole sitter really bogged down. You can see did not get away well at all. And that really played into the hands of the second row, especially as they all entered here. This Paddock Hill Bend. Stefan Julmi very nearly taking the lead of the race, but then squeezed out, and you can see a number of drivers are squeezed out, and this is where there were all sorts of skirmishes going on. Now, those that were clever enough to find a way by without being affected by everything that was going on included the likes of Tiziano Caponio at that time, and also David Seed, who, as you could see, made his way up into P6 in one point, and now finds himself in P9. This is Marcos Valverde, who in the second half of this race has really performed as we expect to see Marcos Valverde performing. He's up to P11. And this is Sinan Demerbus then, who's got relatively clean and tidy tarmac ahead of him. On lap 18 of 27, he's about to break the timing beam now. And Sinan Demerbus leading Yannick Schmidt. And is significantly quicker by some 0.4 than Yannick Schmidt, which means the gap between Demerbus and Schmidt is some 3.267 seconds now. Dario Arpa, well, is going to try and bank a podium out of this, but will be very, very disappointed that he is P3 as he dropped down the order. We didn't see the reason why, but it was obviously some error from Dario Arpa. We can only assume that saw him passed by both Sinan Demerbus and Yannick Schmidt. So Ondrin Kaifer running in P4 with Tiziano Caponio then, as I mentioned, one of those that took advantage of the everything that was going on at the start. So good drive here in Kemptal from Tiziano Caponio. And Sinan Demerbus continuing to increase his margin to something like 3.5 seconds now over Yannick Schmidt. So Tiziano Caponio chasing down Ondrin Kaifer. Ondrin, of course, he of the biggest save in the knockout qualifying, as David Seed now really pursuing the car in front. Where can David Seed make a move on this car and elevate himself from P9 into P8? It's Hedinger that he's trying to get by, and this is Tyler Klausch, who is running P14. Machas de la Rosa then is keen to get by, and in his quest to get by runs out onto the grass. So Mikael Farland is under pressure from Machas de la Rosa, but thus far has been able to maintain that place. See a new fastest lap coming from Marcus Valverde as the fuel level in the car, virtual fuel level, reduces, so the car gets a little bit quicker. And here is David Seed, who's trying to find something extra he can, because he's sat for a long time behind Hedinger and has not been able to find a way by. Overtaking not easy at Brands Hatch. Here's Ondrin Kaifer running through Clark Curve now onto the start-finish straight. And Ondrin Kaifer breaks the beam of the timing signal in that P4 position, being chased by Tiziano Caponio. Rounding Druids now. Demerbus, Schmidt. And Demerbus now with 4.1 seconds ahead of Schmidt, and Dario Arpa is getting closer and closer and closer to Yannick Schmidt. There's going to be a fight going on for P2 in a moment. Tiziano Caponio continuing to try and find a way by Ondrin Kaifer. Demerbus, Schmidt, Dario Arpa then are the top three. And as I say, just looking at the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the gap from P2 and P3 was coming down significantly. Here is David Seed then, still piled up behind this car of Hedinger ahead. Fair play to Hedinger, who's not yielded to the pressure and is still able to show a clean pair of heels to David Seed for the moment. Marcus Valverde then, who has been setting a sequence of fastest laps as we get into the final 5 laps of this race. Let's go on board with Marcus Valverde now, trying to find a way by. It's difficult around the outside here at Druids. Really denied, but good effort from Marcus Valverde trying to find a way past Yannick Pletcher. Yannick Pletcher, though, is able to metaphorically stick his elbows out and thus far deny Marcus Valverde, which will be frustrating for Marcus, as everything he throws at this thus far has not been enough. Yannick Pletcher, of course, on the podium in Mugello at our last round of the Challenger League in Racing Unleashed, as we go on board with the Yannick Pletcher car now. Oh, and that is a mistake from Marcus Valverde, and Yannick Pletcher will benefit from that. Because all of a sudden Marcus Valverde, who was right up his trumpet, isn't anymore. David Seed has managed to get by Hedinger. So you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen that David Seed now finds himself in P8. De Murbas, Schmidt, Arpa, the 1, 2, 3. There is David Seed then, having successfully got by Hedinger in the end. And it did take him a long time to do that. And now Hedinger falling prey to Yannick Pletcher. Ondrej Kiefer not on the podium, but you can see a podium potential here, because Ondrej Kiefer is running in P4 and he's really reeling in Dario Arpa now. There is Arpa in the green car. There's Ondrej Kiefer. And on lap 24 of 27, Ondrej Kiefer knows that a podium is definitely on the cards here. However, what Ondrej's got to be aware of is the fact that Caponio and Zambras are right behind as well. So in a bold and ambitious move to try and get by Ondrej Kiefer, he doesn't want to lose out to the likes of Tiziano Caponio and also Ciro Zambra. So here is Ondrej Kiefer. Really now just showing his face to the inside of the Dario Arpa car, then losing a bit of momentum as he runs out onto the grass. And that does allow Tiziano Caponio to get a bit closer, although Caponio with an error allows Ciro Zambra to go through. So Ciro Zambra has gone through now, and Ciro Zambra will be doing the chasing on Ondrej Kiefer and Dario Arpa. So this battle for the final podium place could become a three-way party very soon. With just a couple of laps of race distance to come here at Brands Hatch, this is Racing Unleashed and our Challenger League Championship Race 5 of the 10-race season. Ciro Zambra coming good towards the end of the race. Sinan de Murbas leading from Yannick Schmidt, and Dario Arpa, who is at the head of this queue of cars, although as you can see he has something of a margin over Ondrej Kiefer, who is a P4, and Ondrej Kiefer now is going to be under real pressure from Ciro Zambra. Here comes Tyler Klausch then with Fabian Meyer, and Ciro Zambra now we go on board with. Ciro is beginning, if I dare say, to run out of time to be able to capitalize on the potential here. Sinan de Murbas with a good, very nearly 5 second over Yannick Schmidt and Dario Arpa. Then is Ondrej Kiefer, Ciro Zambra, Tiziano Caponio, then Stefan Julmi, David Sid P8, Hedinger is P9, and Yannick Pletcher P10, and Marcos Valverde just out of the points in P11, despite having set some a sequence of fastest laps. Here's Yannick Pletcher then, who we are on board with now, running through, and has the Hedinger car in his target sights. But here at Brands Hatch, narrow, undulating, it's difficult to overtake. Ciro Zambra on the left-hand side of your screen, Yannick Pletcher on the right-hand side of your screen. And there is Ciro Zambra with Ondrej Kiefer ahead. This is P5 and P4 in the fight that we're watching on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's the fight between P9 and P10, and it's Yannick Pletcher that is P10 at the moment. We have started the final lap of this Challenger League race here at Brands Hatch with Sinan de Murbas 4.9 seconds to the good of Yannick Schmidt and Dario Arpa. Ciro Zambra steadfast in that P5, running out to the GP part of the circuit now with this left-hander, running up towards Hawthorne Hill, and then of course the right-hander, which is Hawthorne Bend. And the overtake opportunities are running out thick and fast for our drivers on the final lap of this race. Race that was led in the early stages by Dario Arpa, who did make a mistake, or didn't make a mistake, but just bogged down right at the start of the race and didn't get away well. And that played into the hands of many. But Sinan de Murbas will be victorious at Brands Hatch in Munich. Well done, Sinan. He takes the win. And Yannick Schmidt takes P2, Dario Arpa P3, Ondrej Kiefer P4. There is Yannick Schmidt in Munich. So, as all the cars cross the line, David Seed manages to get P7. Well, right in the final stages of this race, everyone seemed to up the ante a little bit. So to Murbas and Schmidt, and here is Dario Arpa, who did a fine job in qualifying, put the car on pole position, and then something somewhere went awry for Dario, and he went from P1 to P3 as Sinan de Murbas and Yannick Schmidt went by. But he gathered it up and was able to bank P3 in the end, so good, valuable points, and of course, let's not lose sight of the fact, prize money as well. We didn't see it on the television. P1, yep. You bogged down at the start. You managed to gather it all up and save that, which was a brilliant start in the end. Where did you lose the lead? Because we didn't see it on the television.
I think I lost the lead on turn 5 because at the exit of the corner I lost the car, and that was basically it. It was my mistake. Yeah.
It takes a big man and a big racing driver to admit when they've made a mistake, and I have to say your recovery from the mistake right at the start, where you just seem to bog down a little bit. Okay, taking all of that into consideration, Dario, you must be happy with your performance in qualifying and also your performance in the race, because you have taken a podium, P3.
Apart from that mistake, yes, I'm pretty happy about the result in the end, and my pace as well. So yeah,
I agree, and you're going to be a one to watch throughout the rest of this season, and very, very excited we are to watch you as well. Many congratulations, Dario. Sorry it wasn't P1, but well done for your P3.
It will be another time. Thank you.
Now, Yannick Schmidt is in our lounge in Munich. You had such a smile on your face, Yannick, when you crossed the line and you took that P2. Well done to you.
Hello. Thank you. It was a great race.
It was a really, really good race. Now, of course, you had the benefit of Dario Arpa making a mistake, but you have to take all those mistakes, and sometimes the luck runs with you, sometimes it runs against you. But Yannick, I was really impressed with your pace, consistent throughout the race.
Yes, I couldn't say anything right now. I'm very happy.
Well, what you did say was enough for us to hear, and we are delighted that you are happy. Well done, Yannick Schmidt, taking that P2. It just looks like you're so relieved, your facial expressions, that you banked that P2. So money in your pocket and points on the table. Well done, Yannick Schmidt. So he takes P2. So we've heard from P3, we've heard from P2. And in Munich, as you can see, scratching his head as if to say, where could I find another few 100s? Sinan de Murbas, you did not need to, because you were awesome. And you took the chance when it came. And the thing is, as a racing driver, Sinan, sometimes, as I was saying earlier on to Dario, sometimes luck doesn't run with you, sometimes it does, and you just have to seize those opportunities, and you did that. P1, well done, friend.
Thank you. I mean, I never ever expected to do it at this track. I knew at some point I would get my shot at the win, but I just tried to win the slowest race possible, don't do any mistakes, my time will come. I knew where the grip was and where we should place my car into turn 1 and turn 2, and then it just worked out perfectly.
So, Sinan, the Brands Hatch GP circuit, obviously I'm biased because I'm British and I love the place. It is a difficult circuit, and it's hard for you guys to find somewhere to overtake as well, isn't it? So it's a real roller coaster, a real challenge for you.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is key, patience is key. You can't force anything at this track. You just have to wait and put the guy ahead under pressure. Once I had the lead, I just tried to do slow lap times, consistent, don't go off, and just bring it home, basically.
It sounds to me, Sinan, that the strategic plan that you had put out there worked, because you are race winner. Congratulations, Sinan de Murbas.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This podium, though, is absolutely guaranteed. There is going to be no changes to P1, P2 and P3. So the winner is Sinan de Murbas. He takes P1. Yannick Schmidt takes P2. And taking P3, Dario Arpa. And here comes the first of our podium ceremonies as Dario Arpa receives his P3 trophy. literally just underneath me here in our studio. And good applause for everyone, and thank you very much. Well done, Dario. He takes P3. And here comes Yannick Schmidt in Munich. Whoa, Yannick! He nearly fell off the podium. That would have been something that I would have talked about for years, Yannick. Yannick Schmidt then takes P2 in Munich. I'd have so laughed if you had fell off the podium. I don't mean that I would want you to do yourself any injury, of course, but it would have been hilarious. Sinan Demurbas. And to the top step of the podium then. Congratulations are offered and afforded. And here comes the award then of the medal. P1 then for our race winner. Absolutely great stuff. So P1 and P2, of course, on the same podium because they were based in the same lounge. Both of them onto the top step of the podium for a really nice photograph and nice image for us on television as well. Full and confirmed result from Brands Hatch then, with Demurbas, Schmidt and Arpa, of course, the 1, 2, 3. First of the drivers to pick up penalties were Tiziano Caponio and David Seed, P6 and P7. They weren't the only ones, because other drivers picking up penalties included Mikael Frey and Yannick Pletcher and Thomas Herzog and Tyler Klausch and Fabian Meyer and Julian Matias Dalla Rosa, all picking up penalties. Ironically, the start accident where you saw so many cars off at Paddock Hill Bend, that was considered a racing incident. No penalties.
Hi, my name is Ralf Möller. I'm the Chief Fitness Officer of Racing Unleashed. For esports, sim racing, physical and mental fitness is important. 30 to 60 minutes of exercises per day are important for your success. Use your bike instead of your car, or just take a walk. There are no excuses. Running, cycling, swimming or gym. Just keep it going. So get fit and fast with a Gladiator. Racing Unleashed. See you soon.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle. Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this, absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich.
Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
Hello everyone, really sorry I can't be with you this weekend because still travelling from the USA back to Europe. However, whether you are a Racer League driver or a Challenger League driver, I just wanted to check in and wish you the best of luck for racing this weekend. And my buddy Matthew Duffin, he's going to be calling all the action. Be good.
Welcome back then to Racing Unleashed. Here is the grid then, and we've got Ondrin Kai for P21 and Joshua Hader in 22, and I think we can grab a word with Joshua. And Joshua, are we going to be a bit more behaved in this one? You're going to stay out of trouble?
Can you please repeat?
Are we going to make sure we stay out of trouble in the race for this one?
I try to not be in trouble this race, yes. Sorry.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
So Ondrin Kaifer, P21, Joshua Hader, P22 there then. P20 is Tiziano Caponio and Sylvain Prus in 19th place. P18 is Astrid Vollenweider and Tyler Klausch in 17th then. all these drivers getting fully prepared and fully focused as Borja Zarzo, then P16, getting the towel in, making sure the sweat is wiped off the rail, and Fabian Meyer in P15. And I believe we can get a word with Borja Zarzo. Borja, what can you do in this race?
I don't know, I'm trying to give my best, so I think I can get my position back because I lost some positions on the qualifying, so I try to do my race, my best.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Borja.
Thank you so much.
All smiles and all focus from every driver on this grid. Fabian Meyer lining up in P15 then on the grid as well. P14 goes the way of Michael Fry. And Julian Matias de la Rosa in P13th place. He's ready to go for this one. As we head into the top 12 now, and it's Thomas Herzog in P12. He's just making sure he knows what he's got to do. Hugo Pinto in position 11 in Madrid, making sure the gloves are on, they fit nice and well and not too harsh on his hands. He's got a very long, tricky race coming up in this one. Top 10 then, and it's Ciro Zambra, the man who will start in P10, and I believe we can get a word with Ciro Zambra. And Ciro, race winner last time out, what can you do this time?
Yes, I will give my best. You know, the knockout quali wasn't the best, I couldn't get into the flow, but I will just race and try to get into the flow now in the race and gain some positions.
Hopefully score a lot of points today for your championship.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Nice.
Best of luck, buddy.
Thanks.
And in P9 then, Tobias Meyer lining up with him in our racing lounge in Munich, and he looks fully focused on the job he's got at hand. And Ciro Zambra, big task to get to the front of this pack. P8, Valentin Georgiev then with Marcus Valverde, the black sweatband today, not the purple sweatband we used to seeing with Marcus Valverde in P7, making sure them gloves are on as he is ready to go. Valentin Georgiev there, just making sure he can see properly. Top 6 then on the grid, and it goes away of David Rusler in P6 here in Munich, and I believe we can get a word with David. Not yet in the channel, so I think we'll just wait. He's in the channel. David, can you hear us?
Yeah.
What we're expecting in this race, what can you do?
Yeah, hope not to get too far back and maybe hold my position. Concentrating on staying where I am.
Your first race start here at Racing Unleashed, is it a top 10 finish what you want?
Yeah, of course I want it, but let's see how it goes, and I'm happy with any result.
Well, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And David Seed there, head just tilted down. A lot of work to do for David Seed today in P5. He's got to make sure he finishes ahead of Sinan Demirbaş for this championship, coming to the back end of the season, and he's got a lot of work to do. Sinan Demirbaş then, hopefully he's not asleep and he wakes up for the start of this race, because he's got a lot of work to do in P4. And we've got Sven Kusel to talk to in P3. And Sven, your first outing as well here at Racing Unleashed. Top 3 start. What can you do in the race?
I hope I will finish in the points, and let's look.
A podium, hopefully the best thing, or just points?
Just points.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, buddy.
Thanks.
And then your front 2. It didn't change from the original order. It will be Nico Farland in P2 and Ruiz Oscar lining up on the front row as the graphic changes. Now there is Nico Farland and Ruiz, who sat P1. A thumbs up from behind in Munich of Nico Farland. He's ready to go. And let's head to the fast facts now of Spa-Francorchamps. Spa then, the Ardennes roller coaster. It's classed then 7 kilometres long, one of the longest circuits in the Racing Unleashed calendar. 10 left-handers, 9 right-handers, and a start of 250 metres from P1 to Turn 1. 100 metres difference in altitude, and El Rouge probably the most famous corner in all of motorsport then. As we get into the fast facts, and season 2021, Javier Loro was the man who took the race win. A very good victory for him as he come through the chicane. Nicely done, look. And he just got to the line. And a lovely little punch of the air. I say punch of the air, a waft of the air. And then a bit more ambitious on weaving the car to warm his tyres up. Then into turn 1 you go then, 250 metres from start to La Source. And a very, very tricky right-hander. It's very easy to get that one completely wrong. Up into El Rouge and Radion then. A very brave corner if you're going to go side by side. But what will you do through there? Crucial to get a good run down the Kemmel Straight. As then after the Kemmel Straight you head to Le Combs, where Michael Schumacher and Mick Häkkinen, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton made contact one time as well. And at the very end of the lap, the chicane, which can make or break drivers. Can you send one up the inside to make sure it's job done? Or what will happen?
I try in the warm-up. I try a little to try to the start. I think that I have the point, but I don't know. And at the first corner, I try to maintain the first position, but I think that it's a little bit hard. So my objective is to stay in the track and to survive to the last lap.
And then another fun fact, Nico Rosberg back in his William days trying to do a blindfold drawing of the circuit from memory. I don't think that's the layout of Spa, but I tell you what, it would make for an interesting race around Nico Rosberg's layout of Spa. Just wait till you see this ending, because the track doesn't join up, it overlaps, and then you can't come round to complete a lap because you just end it. Just there, look. What a shot. And that then was your Fast Facts ready for race 7 here in the Challenger League this afternoon. And a very warm welcome back to everybody here to Racing Unleashed, where we go beyond the pinnacle here for 2022. Hope you all had a good lunch and enjoyed the highlights of Brands Hatch. But there are red lights on now. It's a long hold. It's green and go for race 7 here at Spa, and a great start from the front runners. Everybody in the midfield equally sort of packed out and bunched up, making sure they all get into turn 1 as safe and out of it as possible. Everybody through nice and cleanly. That's what we want to see. Now down the straight towards El Rouge we go, and this is a crucial corner. Cars just bouncing off the wall up El Rouge. There's still drivers side by side. People having to get out of it there then as they come through. That was a car sideways at the top of Radion, and who is that dropping down the order? That is Tobias Meyer on his debut, down to the back of the pack. Nico Forlan though out front has taken the lead of this race, and Zarzo's got himself up to P14. Pinto and Matias De La Rocha having a great battle, as well as Sylvain Proust here trying to make up some ground, as that is a car off, and there's another one just gone off out the right hander, bouncing off the wall. And who is that dropping down? That is Mikael Froy, who has gone down the standings, as well as it was the leader, in fact it was the race leader. Ruiz Oscar is down to P20. So what has happened to him at the start of this race? And Nico Forlan leads this one then from Sylvain Proust on his it's Sven Kusnel, on his first outing. David Seed is ahead of Sinan de Murbas then in P3 and has got the jump there, and that is a big wiggle from Sven just in front of him as Nico Forlan is pulling away. Sinan de Murbas on the back of David Seed. He's got to try and stick with him. Where is Ciro Zambra? He's already made up good ground. He's up into P6 with Marcus Valverde just behind. But for Kusnel here, he's got David Seed on the back of him, and we know David Seed, he loves to make a late lunge up the inside. Will he do so at the chicane? Hugo Pinto here, you see down in P9, he's trying to make a move, and that is on Georgiev round the outside. Later on the brakes, he dares brake latest, and will he keep that inside line? Georgiev makes sure he gives it in very tight, and he doesn't get the run out the chicane he needed there. And Pinto down towards turn 1, he goes still behind Georgiev. He'll have to look to the inside, a late cut to the inside though. On board Hugo Pinto, makes the apex and gets the job done there on Valentin Georgiev. And now Georgiev under pressure from the car behind him as well. I say car behind him, they're side by side, and Georgiev tucks in as Pinto coming up towards El Rouge. All these are brave in the background. Up over Radion they come, down the Kemmel Straight now, and Pinto up into 7th place, can set after the drivers in front. Matias De La Rosa, though, has got himself alongside Pinto, and that slipstream down the Kemmel Straight really is at an advantage, especially if you can get in the toe early on up through Eau Rouge, and a huge snap for Hugo Pinto there, sends him right round, and hopefully the other drivers can avoid him, and he gets going now. He was on the apex of the corner as he span around, and away he goes into the safety of the rest of the traffic then. But a big snap for Hugo Pinto just when he got himself into the points. Joshua Hader, he's made up some impressive moves already. He's up to P12 from the back of the grid. On board him, fully focused and determined to get this one done. Look, a car just a little wide in front of him, and he's going to make sure now that he tries to get on the back of that car. It is Tiziano Caponio just in front of him, and for Joshua Hader, he's had a fantastic start. He's getting 10 places in the opening lap and a half. What an opening lap for him. David Seed is into second place with Sinan de Murbas up into P3 from Valverde, and then Ciro Zambra. And here's David Rusler on his first outing down in 6th at the moment. Here is looking back from Tiziano Caponio, now back to Joshua Hader, who is trying to get on the back of Caponio, but he's got Tyler Klaus just in front of him. And he's going to make sure that he can make the move. Here is Ciro Zambra then on the back of Marcus Valverde. Tiziano Caponio knows he's got Joshua Hader behind him, and he has Klaus just in front. There's a queue of cars just in front here, and that is all on the back of Borja Zazo, who's had a good start to this race. 16th up to 8th, so he's gained himself 8 places in this one as well. Julian Matias De La Rosa then on the back of the orange car in front, and look at the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight, up the inside as easy as you like, and that is P6 for Matias De La Rosa, ahead of our debutant and David Rusler, as Marcus Valverde has got past Sinan de Murbas then, so the current championship leader just struggling at the moment and loses out another place. Tiziano Caponio's got himself past Tyler Klaus, and that will mean that Joshua Hader will be after the back of Tyler Klaus now. But for Julian Matias De La Rosa, great pass using that slipstream to full effect. Now needs to find some 3 seconds to get on the back of Ciro Zambra, who is trying to hunt down Sinan de Murbas. Further down the pack then, Fabian Myers moved up to 17th place with Astrid Vollenweider up into 19th now as well, and Tobias Meyer, another one of our new drivers, he's dropped down to 20th place. Then looking back from Tiziano Caponio, now looking forward from Tyler Klaus, and that is the car of Caponio in front, and in the rear view mirror you see Joshua Hader and co in the background. Plenty of traffic and plenty of places for these guys to make up. Top 10 score points, let's not forget. And now here goes then Klaus on Caponio to the outside as they come towards the chicane. Who is going to be later on the brakes? It's Tyler Klaus, who really slams the anchors on and makes sure that he gets that one stopped into the chicane, and he does indeed, and that is a great move. Fastest lap of the race, David Seed, so he's a man on a mission, and he's coming at the moment. Tiziano Caponio though back behind Tyler Klaus once again, and is that Joshua Hader just going up the inside? Believe it was. He was having a look, but I think it's Caponio and Klaus up front, who are side by side coming up to the bottom of Eau Rouge. And I tell you what, one of these guys have got to back out. Hader just to lift off the throttle there to make sure he doesn't get caught up in these two squabbling. How they got up Eau Rouge. Look at Joshua Hader, the momentum he got through Eau Rouge, and he's trying to create a gap. He now makes it 3 wide coming down the Kemmel Straight towards Lecombe, and here comes Joshua Hader, might just get the 1 place of Tyler Klaus, and he does so, and that was a great move. He's been tapped around and manages to hang on to it though. Who's got through? Believe Klaus, Herzog and Michael Fry have all got past Joshua Hader there, but he's got the speed, he knows he's got the pace and the determination to get through. It was a lovely move, it just didn't work at the very end for him in this one. Then David Seed has that lead cut down to under half a second to Nico Fall, and David Seed is on a mission to recover his championship lead in this race. Joshua Hader though head back down, and he's already on the back then of Thomas Herzog. Here is David Rushler looking back to Borja Zazo then, 16th in qualifying for Borja, and he said points in the interview, and look at him fully determined on catching the car in front of the debutant. Borja, an experienced driver here at Racing Unleashed, and knows what he's got to do. He knows when to go early. 17 lap race, with lap 4 off 17 as the laps start to tick away in one of the longest tracks on the calendar. Nico Farland just a little slower than the traffic behind him. So being caught by the 3 cars behind him here, but Sinan Demirbas not being able to make any inroads on Valverde or David Seed. At the moment, Sinan Demirbas is actually being overtaken by Ciro Zambra as well then. So for Demirbas here, his championship lead could be taken off of him again. It's Porsche Zazo now up El Rouge. There's a couple of cars behind. That was Georgiev and Caponio as well, who up El Rouge. They've made contact and a big incident into the wall of Valentin Georgiev and Tiziano Caponio, and that will promote several other drivers then. Mikael Fry, Tyler Klausch promoted up a couple of places, as well as Hugo Pinto. I think Joshua Hayder's made a few places as well, and for Tiziano Caponio, he's in the wars there, coming up through Radion into the back of Valentin Georgiev. And, well, the momentum up El Rouge and Radion, you've got to make sure you get out that throttle, because if you're not out the throttle, you could have an incident like that. And it's just that slipstream taking great effect. And a big snap there for David Rusler in front of Borja Zazo, and Borja Zazo patiently waiting. He can see that mistake coming from David, and he's just going to patiently wait and bide his time. He's got plenty of time left in this race to make a mistake, and he's just forcing the newbie into a couple of mistakes. David Rusler here is really now trying to keep it calm and keep it cool and keep ahead of Borja Zazo. Tyler Klausch behind is 3.2 seconds, so he'll only lose 1 place to Borja Zazo. He doesn't need to overdrive the car here, as here then is your battle for the lead. David Seed to Nico Farland then. Nico Farland a bit quicker than David Seed last time around, as Ciro Zambra a lot quicker than the rest of them. Him and Sinan Demirbas have got past Marcus Valverde, I've just noticed there on the standings. There is David Seed, the man of many smiles, we've said in the past. He's coming up El Rouge into Radion, down the Camel Straight now, and looking back from Nico Farland. Look at David Seed just slowly pull in with that slipstream, just taking effect. Gets it to 6/10. Actually, Nico Farland better through the Lecom chicane than David Seed was then. Ciro Zambra in third. From 12th on the grid, as here comes Tiziano Caponio again. He pulls out now on Thomas Herzog down the Camel Straight, just a couple of wheels on the grass. That's not the quickest way, Tiziano, and he's going to look around the outside at Lecom, and he gets that one absolutely inch perfect. Joshua Hayden now then on the back of Thomas Herzog, and he'll want to make a move as well, as here is Tiziano Caponio now has a job to do to make some moves and get some time up and try and catch onto the back of Michael Fry. There's Georgiev and Fabian Mayer both get past Ruiz Oscar, whose race, qualified on pole, but his race just hasn't gone the way he wanted it. Joshua Hayder then on the back of Thomas Herzog still. David Seeds brought that gap down a little bit to the leaders. Here is Fabian Mayer, and he's just waiting for that car in front to just make a mistake. That is Valentin Georgiev in front. 0.8 of a second separate these two. And for Ruiz Oscar, he's a further 1.5 seconds behind Mayer, and has plenty of time, does Mayer, to just force an error from Georgiev. Farland though, quicker than David Seed last time around. Tyler Klausch now having a look. Who's this on? Having a look at the chicane there, gets a good run out of it, and this now is on the back of David Rusler then. So has he made a mistake, because Zazo's got past, and now Klausch up the inside at turn 1. Easy as you like, thank you very much. P8 for him, and Mikael Fry now on the back of a P10, of a P9, sorry. And for David Rusler, he's just dropping down the order a little bit, has to try and stick with cars, and he's all over the place up the top of Radion there, and now getting that slipstream, doesn't need to, he's got the speed advantage as he pulls down the straight. Mikael Fry can see these two side by side, and how he'd love these two to maybe make a bit of contact into Laycoms, and it's as clean as a whistle, through they go, and Mikael Fry is going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and overtake them on the track, and it is elbows out from every driver up and down the grid here. They want as many positions and as many points as possible. So Mikael Fry has work to do. Here's Thomas Herzog then. Loving the gear, green and black gloves on display there from the cockpit from Thomas Herzog. As down there towards the middle sector he comes. He's trying to get on the back of Joshua Hayder here then, who's still trying to stick with Tiziano Caponio. And the Herzog just outside the points, as is Hayder and Caponio in a minute. So they'll all love a couple more places to get within them points. Back to Fabian Mayer. Look at that, a very cool, calm, collected face from Fabian Mayer there. Just on the back, looks like he's out for a Sunday drive. He don't look like he's in a race at the moment with the facial expression. On the back then of on the back of Georgiev, and he's got closer. Here is Tobias Mayer then, P20 at the moment, and is 4.3 seconds off the back of Ondrin Kaifer. David Rusler then, he's under pressure from Mikhail Fry and doesn't get the chicane right. Bit of a slow exit you see there, and Fry gets much better run. Now can Rusler defend that inside line into La Source? No, because Fry's going to try and switch it back, send it up the inside. Job done, P9. Tiziano Caponio next on Rusler's list then to defend from. As who's that making a move up the inside, around the outside? That is Georgiev and Mayer then, side by side, up El Rouge and through Radion. That is Fry and David Rusler then. Coming back at him he is, and wants that P9 back, and they are so close, and Tiziano Caponio is right with these two as well. Into Les Combes they come now. And David Rusler then gets that place back from Mikhail Fry. So good job from him. Mayer has got past Georgiev on the standings as well. And David Seed has made no more inroads to Nico Forland at this stage of the race. Lap 8 of 17. So we're pretty much halfway through this race as well. And what a race it's been. There's been overtakes, there's been crashes, dramas all over. And your pole sitter is down in P17. Michael Fry then. Another one that looks like he's out for a Sunday drive, just as cool as a cucumber in that cockpit, on the back of Reuschler and defending from Tiziano Caponio. Bit of a wiggle mid-corner there, misses his apex, but manages to get it right for the second ball, and that is a huge snap for David Reuschler there, and that puts him straight into the wall and will promote several drivers a couple of positions there. And Joshua Hayder now on the back of this scrap of Mikhail Fry and Tiziano Caponio within the shout of a point. Thomas Herzog's trying to stick with these as well. And for David, down to P13 he goes, and it has not been the race that the newbies would have wanted. As David Seed still within 6/10, but Tiziano Caponio is going to try and break late over Michael Fry into the chicane, and they just make contact slightest bit, and Joshua Hayder sees an invitation, can't take it though at the moment, but he's getting closer and closer and closer they come, as they come down to start the 9th lap of this race. Into La Source they go again, and I tell you what, this midfield battle for a top 10 points finish here has been absolutely fantastic in this race. And Tiziano Caponio has been up, down, you name it, he's been in that position. And for Fry then, he's got a few cars that he's got to defend from. Thomas Herzog trying to stick with his pack as well. And the slipstream of Tiziano Caponio will now take effect. Fabian Mayer, this is Ruiz Oscar, your pole sitter. Look at the difference in speed, the drag that he got, the slipstream that he got down the Camel Straight. And Georgiev is a passenger to Ruiz Oscar then, who flies past, and a wiggle from Valentin Georgiev there, sees him bounce off the curb into the side of Ruiz Oscar, and then Oscar back across with his snap into the front of Georgiev then. So that's promoted several other drivers. Fry now really having to defend from Caponio, Hayder and Herzog's coming with them. So a bit of traffic here for P9, 10 and 11. Nico Forland out front hasn't felt much pressure at the moment, but David Seed is just getting larger in that rear view mirror you see at the top for Thomas Herzog, and he might just have to start thinking about what he's got to do to defend. Look at David Seed at the chicane then, getting real up close and personal to the back of Nico Forland's car, and Ciro Zambra as well in the background, Forland can see. So he's just got to stay as cool and composed as he is and has been in the knockout qualifying and in the early stages of this race. It's very easy to make several mistakes here. Fabian Mayer's got past Pinto for 14th place as well, and this is looking back from Nico Forland to David Seed. That gap 7/10 of a second. It's been that roughly now for about 4 or 5 laps, and you have to say that for Nico Forland, he has defended like a lion in this one. Absolutely fantastic drive out front. Ciro Zambra 1.6 off the back of David Seed. Sinan Demirbaş just hasn't had the pace in this race to stick with the front runners, and for Valverde, can he get close to Demirbaş and take some more points away from the current championship leader then? Here is David Seed, who just he hasn't got an answer to Nico Forland at the moment, hasn't got an answer at all. He's doing everything he needs to do. He's stronger in certain sections of the track, and then loses time to Varland in other sections. Now Tiziano Caponio has got past Mikael Fry for P9 and 10. As David Seed then just trying to get closer. This is the closest he's been for a while, and it seems that this last sector of the lap, David Seed has the upper hand over Farland. Here is Mikael Fry then, who has just lost out to Herzog, and now has Joshua Hader on the back of him for that final points position. Thomas Herzog's not got onto the back of this party that we expected as well, but a lovely three-way battle. And Joshua Hader had a big penalty in the knockout qualifying, demoted to the back of the pack. Now, really focused on getting that top 10 finish. And there he is, look. Really now, determined and trying. He's got his support behind him to make sure that he is doing the best job he needs to do, to cheer him on and to make sure that he gets the places he needs. Just losing a bit of time in this last sector to Fry, but look at that closing speed on the brakes there. Flat to the floor on the exit of the chicane, and great job there from Joshua Hader as he comes down the straight. Just getting closer and closer, you feel, with every corner that goes by. And while Mikael Fry and Tiziano Caponio sort of holding each other up, drafting each other here, they need to make sure that, or Hader needs to make sure, should I say, that he's aware of their speed coming up this part of the circuit, because you get such a launch from the top. Herzog now, he's within a second of Joshua Hader, and he can sniff some points as well as Fry. Looking to make a move. Caponio's gone defensive already. Fry to the outside, and through the chicane, Lecombe chicane they come, and Caponio defends from Fry yet again, and stays P9 and 10. David Seed within half a second, under half a second now, of Nico Farland. So he has brought that gap down, and David Seed is slowly now towards the back end of this race. He's coming back here at Nico Farland. There he is, look. And Nico Farland's car is the closest it's been all race. And I wonder if David Seed will crack a smile if he manages to get P1 in this one. He's fully focused at the minute though, and look at him, just determined as ever. And that car, that slipstream, is really pulling him in here. Within 3/10 now, he's going to have a look up the inside. Brakes earlier, make sure he doesn't make contact with the car in front, and that all good from David Seed then. Down the straight they come to start lap 12. 4/10. David Seed was quicker on that last lap. Ciro Zambra gained 2/10 over Nico Farland as well. So he might be starting to come back into this one, especially if Farland starts to hold up David Seed. Joshua Hader then has got past Mikael Fry. He's into the top 10 now, is Joshua Hader. So a move done there. And David Seed now, the launch up the top of Eau Rouge and Radion in that slipstream, a 10th and a half. He's already committed to the inside, and Farland is helpless to anything here. And David Seed, look at though, Farland's coming back at him then. David Seed's reached the top speed, and Farland comes back at him, but he's on the wrong side and has to tuck in behind David Seed now. But he will have that benefit of a bit of slipstream. Needs to nail every corner, every section of this track to stick to the back of David Seed, who misses his apex at this next part of the corner. So that invites Farland right back in it here. And a fantastic scrap then. Joshua Hader into the points, do believe. He's having a good side-by-side battle. I can just see over my monitor. David Seed, make sure you don't go too far wide there. Just enough two wheels on the curb. And back from David Seed, there is Farland. He's gapped him to half a second already, you know. So David Seed at the moment doing absolute bits so far to keep in front of Nico Farland and extend that gap already. So Ciro Zambra, could he have an answer for Nico Farland and get himself on the podium? What a race for David Seed. He's had a few ones. This is a look back at the start of Sinan de Murbas then, and P4 on the grid. A bit of contact coming into turn 1, you see, and he just then got pushed a little wide and he lost momentum. Another bit of contact there. Here's Sven Knusel into the chicane, and he just outbraked himself, taps the car next to him, and around he goes. And Sven, keep it there, do not spin that car around, good lad. Sylvain Pruss made sure that there he is, he's still parked up waiting for the traffic to go. Oh, that was a very silly error there from Pruss. The car did lunge on him and was very, very slow, and he bounces off the sausage curb and straight into the back. Fabian Meyer then around the outside of another car. David Ruschler then down to 14th place, has just been overtaken by Fabian Meyer. Oh, and a bit of contact made there between the pair of them. The door it wasn't really open for a move, but he did have a nose there, and Roesler going to come back at him, into La Source, and job done up the inside at turn 1. Thank you very much, he says. I'll have that one back. Nico Forland has had no answer for David Sees, and here is David Roesler then. Fabian Meyer on the back of him, the slipstream up El Rouge and Radion they come for the 13th time in this race, and you imagine that Meyer's slipstream advantage that he's got is just going to carry him towards Lecombe, but he's going to be on the outside line here. And Roesler then, he's not given up on this one yet, and around the inside, doesn't leave him much room for the next part of the track, and job done all cleanly as well through there, and say he squeezed him a little bit. Meyer managed to get through without making contact. Meyer's ran deep then. Here, Georgiev back up to 18th place. He's had a terrible race since his incident to Meyer. What a save from him there, drifting it through the left-hander. Brilliant save from Fabian Meyer. Fantastic from him, as he's just lost a bit of time to Roesler there, just with that little mistake at the moment. Ruiz Oscar, your pole sitter in Madrid. He's got a bit of traffic behind. He's got a car in front. That had a bit of a wiggle, didn't it? And Oscar can look a little interested here. That is Hugo Pinto, the car in front, and Ondrin Kaifer, the car behind. And for Oscar, not the race he'd have wanted on his first outing. He'd have wanted to make sure he got some points and got a job well done and come away with points on the board. But it's not to be for him at this moment in the race. Lap 14 of 17, David Seed has started. David Seed has back at it once again at the chicane, and now down towards La Source they come for their 14th time. And Fabian Meyer does not think of sending one up the inside. He was a bit too far back to get that job done. In that slipstream though, and he could have that all-important slipstream coming up El Rouge and Radion onto the Kemmel Straight. As they come up now, there is Pinto, Oscar and Kaifer in the background, and Fabian Meyer then in that slipstream, just going to pull himself a little closer, but he's not going to get close enough by the time they break for Lecombe, and that's a shame for Fabian Meyer. He'd have wanted to make another move and get himself into that top 13 positions. And he breaks very late there, and it just makes him run a little deep. But I tell you what, it's brought him closer to the back of David Roesler there then, and has really gave him some momentum. This is looking back from P13 David Roesler onto Fabian Meyer. And for Meyer, he's just patient. And that's all you've got to do in this. It's just patience, patience, patience. And Meyer not trying to push the error, as Ruiz Oscar here has got a car on his left-hand side. There it is in the rearview mirror. Peekaboo, he says, as Ruiz Oscar being attacked now. He was the attacker. He's now being... he was. As Ondrin Kaifer completely runs wide and into the gravel, and now Ruiz Oscar on the back of Hugo Pinto has got a chance of making a move. Fabian Meyer and David Roesler as well making moves, and Oscar has got past Pinto, so that's job done before the chicane. Will Pinto try and come back at him? Meyer and Roesler are side by side a bit further forward as well, and here comes Oscar later on the brakes than Pinto. Pinto tries to get the switch back, and Oscar, no you don't, because I've got that one covered, he says. Meyer still didn't get past David Roesler up front as well. He's going to have a look at the source. No, tucks back in, thinks better of it this time around. I'll tell you what, let's try and see if any driver's brave enough to do what Mark Webber did to Alonso a couple of years back at El Rouge. See if anybody's brave enough to go around the outside of that into El Rouge. Fabian Meyer wasn't, but he'll just get that run, and look at that. I tell you what though, by the time his car reaches the top speed, Roesler's going to be coming back at him at Lecombe, and he's the wrong side of him. You need to be doing what David Seed did, and that's getting to the right hand side of the car after Radion, because look, Roesler there just taps the back of Meyer and round he goes, and that then gives Meyer the spot. It also gives Oscar and Pinto an extra couple of places as well, and you have to say there for David Roesler, he made the mistake himself, braked too deep and into the back of Fabian Meyer. He went, the door was open, and he just made the mistake himself. Nico Forland out front isn't being caught by Ciro Zambra. One man who is catching though up front is this man, Marcus Valverde, gaining on the back of Sinan de Murbas, the current championship leader. This man, well, he's He's attacked Nico Farland all race. He got past Nico Farland in a fantastic move at the top of Radion, and since then he hasn't looked back. 1.2 seconds is the gap as Tiziano Caponio's got himself past Tyler Klausch on the standings then. Farland has no answer to David Seed. Marcus Valverde, though, could have an answer in this championship to help Ciro Zambra and David Seed out in this championship, and that is if he can get on the back of Sinan de Merbas a little more than he is at the moment. Here is Nico Farland just wrestling with the car a little bit through Lecombe. Got Ciro Zambra gaining on him. But lap 16 or 17, Ciro Zambra's got to do the work now to set up a real attack on the last lap. 9/10 of a second is that gap, and he's got to make sure he really can attack Nico Farland. But he's got to be sensible in doing this, because any incident, you know, and if race control decide that it would be a penalty, if Ciro Zambra made contact with Farland, he could lose the podium altogether. Points mean prizes at the end of the day, and that's the big thing at this stage of the season. Podiums, get them in the bag. Let's not, you know, you've got to be clever and sensible when racing. Ciro Zambra then, here he comes on the back of Nico Farland, who's had great pace in this race. He's just lost out a little bit to other drivers. As Valverde within 0.3 of a second now of Sinan de Merbas then, and here he is with his entourage in the background. Valverde going around the outside at the little left-hand bend and up the inside into the bus stop chicane. And thank you, Mama, for the carrots, he says. Job done. And that is a great move from Marcus Valverde into P4. The top three all battling, and you have to say, as they start the final lap, Marcus Valverde has just got himself maybe back into this championship hunt a little bit. Sinan de Merbas then, he's in P5. What can he do? Can he come back on Valverde? I tell you what, he's just not had the pace in this race to stick with the top three, and now he's been passed by P4. He's not had the pace in this session as Sinan de Merbas, and it's going to cost him in the championship standings. He's going to come back at Valverde here, down the Kemmel straight. We say, though, I said a moment ago, you want to be on the right-hand side. He can't come across to close the door, and Valverde will just keep the nose in, and they give each other great respect there from the pair of them, and de Merbas gets the place back. Fantastic driving from him up into P4. And great respect, great racing from these two. And Valverde then has got to now try and fight with de Merbas for this final position, for this final fourth place position in this last half of a lap. And that's all he's got left. He's got 3.5 kilometres to make sure he can get this one done. And look at him, concentrated, needs de Merbas to maybe make a mistake, because Valverde's lost a bit of time to Sinan de Merbas here. P5 though, great result for Valverde. Might have to leave the purple headband at home from now on and bring the black one with him, because he's not had the best results recently, and a change of headband seems to bring a change of fortune for him then. De Merbas, to the end of this race, has maybe got the gap covered. It's going to take one heck of a lunge from Valverde to get this job done. But I think David Seed should be coming to the final chicane and to the finish line to finish this race. Here comes Valverde. He's going to have a look to the outside. Can he keep a nose in it? David Seed, though, is going to be your race winner. And not that you'd notice, because barely a reaction from the young man. Nico Farland takes second place from Ciro Zambra, and it was Sinan de Merbas who crossed the line P4. And that man, Nico Farland, a puff of exhaustion there from him. That was hard work in that race. Valverde crossed the line for P5. Matías de la Rosa, P6 it looked like. And from the reaction here in Kemptall, I think Joshua Hader may have grabbed himself a point there in the end. And there is Ciro Zambra just driving with David Seed and Valverde. Fabian Mayer then to the line. He's going to cross that for P13. It's going to be Ruiz Oscar for 14th place. Hugo Pinto will take P15, and there David Seed, look, I'd say a happy man, but it's hard to tell at times whether he's happy with that one or not. I'm sure he's absolutely chuffed to bits and very delighted with taking that race win. In great style for him as well. Georgiev down in 17th place, David Rusler in 18th, Knusel in 19th, Tobias Meyer down the standings as well. Nico Farland just couldn't hang on. It came too late, and David Seed was just too quick for him in the end, and he had to hang on from Ciro Zambra at the very end as well. Vollenweider down in P21, and that then is Sylvain Prius down in P22. There's Astrid. She'll be happy. Oh, she doesn't look very happy. What could have been a better day maybe for her. Nonetheless, a bit more experience in the bag, and she'll go at it once again when the qualifying rounds open for Catalonia next month, where, as you heard earlier, she'll get to take on Fabian Vettel and Alvaro, Mr. JWW. There is the Munich Racing Lounge then. And the message again to Sebastian Hirsch on the screen in the background to get well soon, and we wish you a speedy recovery and a recovery back to the racing lounges as soon as possible. But the racing lounges in Munich, the drivers just coming back round to the pits to make sure they line up in pit lane to finish. It's all very calm, isn't it, at Munich? But the drivers are yet to get out the cockpit, so we'll have to see their reactions when they do jump out. But what a fantastic race then here in Spa in the Ardennes Forest. An absolute cracking race, and you have to say that battle for that top 10 positions, 4 or 5 drivers every now and again, absolutely incredible, edge of your seat stuff from them all race, and it was fantastic to see in the end. And all very calm in our other lounges as well. And a job well done from all our drivers here at Racing Unleashed. As it has been a fantastic race for the Challenger League, and if you enjoyed this enjoyment today, make sure you tune in same time tomorrow, because we've got the Racer League coming up, and by are some of them boys quick, and they will make sure they put on a display for you guys at home watching as well, because they are fantastic. And a chance for one of them who will be sat in Munich tomorrow to do something special, but we'll get into that in tomorrow's programme then, as everything looks very calm here. I see in Kemptol Race Control already busy at it, doing what they need to do. And in Munich, a few disappointed faces. See Sinan Demirbaş, the bottom left of your screen there, just having a bit of a debrief on what could have been today. He got that place back from Marcus Valverde, but just didn't have the pace of the top 3, and that cost him that podium then in this one. There's the other drivers getting out the lounge. There is Sinan Demirbaş, look, talking to one of his competitors, one of his rivals, and one of our Racing Unleashed representatives as well. So here's what happened then. Joshua Hader, look, tried to split the pair of Caponio and Fry, and it nearly worked until he received a bit of a tap up the rear twice, but he got straightened up and away he went. Tiziano Caponio then up El Rouge on the back of Joshua Hader. No, that's on Georgiev, and it was just that extra speed he carried up El Rouge that put him into the back of him, and that is something that drivers needed to be aware of. And if the Race League drivers have watched today, you need to keep an eye on that tomorrow. Andrin Kaiferlook into Lecombs, and there's just a little deep. The gap, you could argue he was squeezed a little bit, but nonetheless a bit of a contact there between them two. Then, so Race Control will definitely take a look at everything that is going off at the moment and making sure that their inquiries are done. And we are just going to await classification of the top 3 for a quick interview with the top 3, then the podium 3. As here's David Seed then, and this is David Seed as he crossed the line, and look at that, he's just a rub of the nose, very, very happy with, we think he's very happy with his day's work. It's just casual business for him, as if he does it again. This is the classified podium then. David Seed is your race winner. Nico Farland will be in P2, and Ciro Zamba rounding out that podium with 3rd place. That is classified, and we can confirm that one to you now. So we'll be bringing you an interview with them top 3 drivers as soon as we can. That one is classified, and David Seed, I'm sure. We'll see if we can get a smile from him when we speak to him in a little moment then. Everybody taking on the fluids that they need to take on, making sure that they get fully debriefed and get everything off their chest that they need to, while race control do everything that race control need to do. Now, this is a huge part of the day. This is where you have to sort of, unless you're the top 3, which has been confirmed, this is nail-biting stuff now. If you're the rest of the packs, you want to make sure you've not been in any bother, or if you have been in a spot of bother, that you'll get the decision overturned and maybe make a place or 2 back in the race then. Everybody just chilling, chatting, debriefing, and Munich looking as spot on. And David Seed then from the Madrid Racing Lounge will be on the podium with Nico Farland, who is in our Munich Racing Lounge, and then Ciro Zambra, who is in our Zurich Racing Lounge. And so we'll be able to bring you the podium celebrations. And we've got Ciro Zambra in the podium with us now. And we spoke to you before the race. You said you was happy with the points. You've come away with 3rd.
Yes, I'm really happy with 3rd place. It's a good result, but I couldn't catch up to Folland. He had a good pace there, maybe some laps more and would have overtook him maybe, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the top 2 seemed to leave you early on, and you managed to get that 3rd place. Like you say, a couple more laps you may have had Farland, but you've got to be pleased with your work today.
What?
You've got to be pleased with the job you've done today.
Yes, I'm very pleased. Was a good result starting from P11 to P3. I'm happy.
Well done today, Ciro. Fantastic result for yourself, and enjoy the podium.
Thank you, mate.
So a very happy Ciro Zambra there then. P11 up to P3. Great drive from him. Fantastic stuff for him to get onto that podium. Spa, very difficult track early on in that race, and when you're in that mid-pack, you need to get the job done. And here's a man who just couldn't hang on. Nico wasn't to be today.
Yeah, my pace in the knockout was simply better than in the race. I was half a second faster in the knockout race, so I did a few mistakes at the middle of the race that Sid can catch me at the end. So I'm happy with P2 as a good result, to be honest, for good points for the season. P2 is good, but I want to win. But I think every driver wants to win a race. So.
And was it a bit nervous at the end of the race there, because Ciro Zambra was starting to catch you at the end? So a bit of nerves, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit of nervous. I had a little bit problem with the downshifting on the simulator, but it's not that quite hard. But yeah, I'm losing so much pace compared to the knockout race. But it's P2. I'm happy with that. So moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward to next month. More points in the bag.
Yeah.
Greetings to your father as well from all of us here in Kemptall. Shame he couldn't be with us today, but a P2 nonetheless. Yeah. Happy day.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Everybody then very, very happy, and no gain, no loss for Nico Farland. Started P2, finished P2, so a decent day. And this man then, what a race he had. David Seed, your race winner. That was a fantastic drive. Talk us through that.
Okay. I had a very decent start. I went through P3 or P2, and after that I were like 7 laps trying to overtake Nico, and after that, well, I just had to drive to the end.
Now, it did seem for a while that the gap was staying the same to Nico, and then all of a sudden you got on the back of him, went past, and you didn't see him again.
Well, I think he made a mistake, and that helped me to overtake him. Sorry. And after that, yes, I only had to control the distance in 1 second, 1.5 seconds, and that's it.
And that looks like it gives you the championship lead back as well, coming away from Spa, so even more to be happy about.
Yes, and also I want to dedicate this win to my friend Valentin Cordova, because it's his birthday. I love you, mate. That's it.
Well, thank you very much, David, and well done on the race win.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. And 3 drivers then very happy with their podium celebrations. as we head back to Munich now, and they're getting ready for their podium celebrations. And a rare smile you saw at the end there from David Seed. Make sure you get a screenshot of that or take a picture of that one on your televisions, because right, so instead of the normal podium procedure that we don't normally see, David Seed is going to get his in the cockpit of the car because he has to head off to the airport. So David Seed, your race winner here at Racing Unleashed for the Challenger League, and he is the race winner today, and he's going to collect his medal in different fashion in the cockpit as he has to head straight to the airport, we're being told. So well done to David Seed then for his podium and his race win. And again, a little cheeky grin there from David Seed. So we'll have to make sure we get a picture of that one. As you see there in Munich, Nico Farland onto the podium. He steps. A high five with everybody at Munich. Lovely message in the background to Sebastian Hirsch as well. And Nico Farland gets his second place medal. And a job well done from him in Munich. Fantastic scenes there. He's very happy with his job. And here then, Ciro Zambra, P3. And he, again, another happy man in Zurich with his podium there. All three drivers very, very happy. We had bigger smiles for P2 and 3 than we did for the race winner, but saying that, if you've been watching all season, that's not to be expected with David Seed. All three drivers, though, very happy. And once again, the message to Sebastian Hirsch, we wish you a speedy recovery and hope to see you back on track very, very soon and back here in our racing lounges very soon. All the best and get well. So there is your classification of your podium. Again, David Seed, your race winner from Nico Farland, and Ciro Zambra, second and third. And race control are still looking everything over here at the moment and are making sure that they do everything they need to do to get it the final classification to us here then. So the top three, all ecstatic, very delighted with themselves. And so they should be, really, because they had a fantastic day and will take home a lovely, lovely medal and a bit of prize money to go with it as well. Just looking over the shoulder. Right, provisional race result coming up now. P1, 2 and 3 are classified. So David Seed, Nico Farland, Ciro Zambra, as we know, are classified as 1, 2 and 3. Provisionally then, 4th place Sinan de Murbas with Marcus Valverde in 5th. 6th place for Julian Matias de la Rosa. Borja Zarzo in 7th after a disappointing qualifying. Great result in the race. Tiziano Caponio P8. Tyler Klausch in 9th with Joshua Hayden managing to get that final point for P10. Second page of the screen, Michael Fry in P11, Thomas Herzog in 12th place, Fabian Meyer 13th, Ruiz Oscar, the pole sitter, all the way down in 14th place, Hugo Pinto 15th with Andrin Kiefer, Valentin Georgiev, David Rusler, Sven Kusel and Tobias Meyer bringing in the top 20. And the final couple of places, Astrid Vollenweider down in 21st and Sylvain Prus in 22nd. But that is provisional. We will get the final classifications to you a little later on. So everybody in Munich celebrating. There is race control and they are already looking thoroughly over every little incident here. And big penalties given out in qualifying. So they're not going to be afraid to give out the big penalties again at this stage of the season when so much matters for these drivers. A lot can happen in these do or die situations at this stage of the season. You see there our three stewards are making sure everything is thoroughly checked at this moment. As we head back to our screen in Munich, they're just taking a debrief. Family and friends stood waiting while the drivers have a quick debrief with everybody in Munich. I'm sure they'll be waiting for the final classification as well. Here then is the provisional rankings then. David Seed will take the championship lead back from Sinan Demirbas with Ciro Zambra P3. That gap now nearly 20 points between the top three. Nico Farland up into 4th place ahead of Marcus Valverde, bringing himself right into contention for this. Lorenzo Haider stays in 6th with Tiziano Caponio tied up with him. Yannick Schmidt, Julian Matias de la Rosa 28 and 29 points. Yannick Pletcher bringing in the top 10. 11th place, Thomas Herzog on 21 points, tied with Undrin Kiefer. Dario Appa on 15 points, Tyler Klausch on 14. 15th place for Yannick Bleissig, tied with Fabian Meyer on 8 points. Antonio Rivoli on 6, with a few drivers, Joshua Hader as well, one of them who got his 6th point today, bringing up the top 20. And the back half of the screen, Ronnie Hartinger on 4 points, and Adinit Jose Lendorf is on 4 points as well. Next Challenger League race though, 24th of September, 10:50 a.m. live on YouTube and Twitch. You will not want to miss it. Catalunya, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya is the next Challenger League race, and I will be bringing you that one as well. If you want to join us here at Racing Unleashed, drive against JWW and Fabian Vettel, go to the Racing Unleashed website and make sure you sign up for the qualifying process to sign up to take them on.
I'm looking forward to joining Racing Unleashed on the 23rd to the 25th of September for the Barcelona race weekend. I'm going to be there all weekend taking part in the Challenger League on the 24th alongside Fabian Vettel.
You want to race against me? Then qualify for the Challenger race in Barcelona.
So if you want to race against us, make sure to qualify for the Challenger League. Really looking forward to seeing everyone over the weekend. Be sure to come down, say hello, and show me your best lap times.
And I'm sure most drivers will take that challenge and accept it. That's all we have time for though today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back live at 10:50 a.m. tomorrow morning. See you then.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this, absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich.
Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.